What is up, guys? Eric here with Team Eccentric, and I'm bringing you one of the new decks that I actually just finished building, which is Pendulum Endymion. Now, I know that this deck probably has lost favor only because obviously Electromite's been banned, and Servant being at 1 makes the deck a lot less consistent. But the deck is still really strong and can still put up really crazy turn 1 boards. And the funny part is I only have 1 Selene, so even with 1 Selene, the deck still functions. It's pretty ridiculous. I aim to get a second one, but as of right now, the deck actually works fine with only 1. So, yeah, we're gonna get right into it. So, starting it off, we play obviously the double Endymion, the Mighty Master of Magic. This card is ridiculous. The fact that while it's in the scale, you can remove 6 counters from anywhere on your field and then just special summon it and then pop cards up to however many cards had spell counters on the field. It's pretty crazy. Also, its monster effect states that once per turn, if your opponent activates a spell or trap card while you control a card with a spell counter as well as this on the field, you can bounce that card with that spell counter, negate the card that they activated, and then place the spell counters from the card that you just bounced onto this. So it's pretty nuts. We play 2 Reflection of Endymion. Reflection is basically like, I would say like a compulsory evacuation device in a sense. What you can do is, it does very similar things to the Mighty Master, where it responds using its spell counters, but what you do is you bounce a card with spell counters, and then you bounce a card your opponent controls, and then you add the spell counters that was on the card you bounced on your side of the field to this. So it's also scale 2, and Endymion's a scale 8, so they work in tandem in terms of their scales. They're also both level 7s, which is actually relevant. We play 1 Servant and 1 Magister. Servant is generally the best starter in the deck. While it's in the scale, you place 3 spell counters on it. You place 1 spell counter every time a spell card resolves. And then once you get to 3, you can special summon it from the scale, and then special summon I believe an Endymion monster straight from your deck. It's pretty ridiculous. I mean, you can only special summon it once, but I mean, these cards they generally just work off spell counters and just special summon a bunch of stuff. Magister is similar to Servant, but instead of special summoning an Endymion monster from the deck, it special summons it from the face-up extra deck. So just allows you to recur Servant or not Servant. It allows you to recur the Reflection or the Mighty Master. Then we do play a small Mythical Beast engine, so we play 2 Jackal King. This is just generally good for monster negate. It just allows you to stop your opponent from Nibiruing you, or drawing Lockbirds, anything of that nature. And then we play 1 Master Cerberus, just so that we can get into the Jackal Kings. You want to see, this engine just allows you to build resources in terms of your spell counters. So that is it for that engine. And then we play triple Magical Abductor. Obviously, this card is ridiculous. It's literally a Stratos for your entire deck. And it's a scale 3, which is pretty relevant because you're going to be obviously doing a lot of Pendulum summoning. So, and then the card that really made me want to play this deck again was Astrograph Sorcerer. We all know what this card does. There was a reason this card was banned. If a card on your field is destroyed, you can special summon this and then basically add another copy of that card from your deck to your hand. It does like loops. It's not once per turn. It's actually searchable off of the Pendulum Magician Xyz monster, which I do play because of the fact that I am playing a Pendulum Magician engine as well. So yeah, this card is pretty nuts. From there, I know this engine has definitely fallen out of favor because of the fact that Electromite isn't in the game as much, but I still find value in it. Triple Chronograph Sorcerer. The other thing is if you have this, if you have 2 of these and Astrograph right there, that's a very strong play in and of itself, because you use 1 Chronograph in the scale, pop it, special summon the Time Gazer, then the other Chronograph will trigger, special summon, and then Astrograph will trigger. It's just a bunch of different effects. So to follow up with that, we do have, like I said, the Pendulum Magician engine. You're playing 1 Time Gazer, you go with the Chronographs. 1 Harmonizing, 1 Black Fang, and 1 Purple Poison. It just allows you to facilitate synchro plays with Harmonizing, as well as obviously use these as utility cards. So that's that, and then obviously the Time Gazer Magician is special summonable off of the Chronograph Sorcerers, which allows you to link up and climb, as well as the fact that it's actually, because it's a magician, you can summon it off of Harmonizing and special summon the a level 7 synchro from your extra deck, which does come up. So that is it for that engine. A lot of engines in this deck. That's something that I have noticed, is there's a lot of basically this deck is just a deck full of engines. So next, we are playing 2 hand traps, we are playing 2 Veilers. I figure that they are in fact spellcasters, so that's the thing. And then, if I'm not mistaken, the monster effect of Magical Abductor says you can add one of these from your deck to your hand as well. So yeah, they're actually searchable spellcasters that are also hand traps. So I do play 2 Veilers. Then for the next engine, I do play the Spellbook engine. I do feel that this engine's actually very good. So we play 1 Blue Boy, 2 Secrets, 1 Knowledge, 1 of the Field Spell. I don't play the second Blue Boy only because I'm playing the Field Spell. I figure that this is a perfect ratio for Crowley. Crowley's effect, you reveal 3 different Spellbook cards from your deck, and then randomly 1 is selected and it goes to your hand, the other 2 are shuffled back into the deck. I figure that this is perfect because Secrets will always get you the search, and then Blue Boy will always get you the search, Knowledge will always get you the draw, but this card actually, during your opponent's standby phase, if you see this, you can always Knowledge it away, and then you actually get to keep the Blue Boy on the field and use it as material for summons. But then you also have the added advantage of this card during your standby phase. You can actually place one of your Spellbook cards back to the bottom of your deck and then draw a card. So, it's slow, and it's kind of like a lot slower advantage, but it's advantage nonetheless. And also, for every Spellbook card, for every Spellbook spell card in your graveyard, you can actually, if this is destroyed, special summon a Spellcaster monster from your deck. If all 3 of these are in your graveyard, this will allow you to special summon a level 3 or lower Spellcaster monster straight from your deck. So that is that for that engine. And now we're getting into the traditional, just general spell cards. So obviously, triple Spell Power Mastery gets you the Surge, adds spell counters. You get to search any Endymion monster, and then you can, obviously it gives cards spell counters inherently because it's a spell, but also you have the added advantage of you can choose one other card that can hold a spell counter and add another spell counter to it on top of the ones that it already inherently gives. So then we're playing 2 Pendulum Call. I fail to see why 3 is actually good. You don't, it's a once per turn card, and also it doesn't, you're discarding a card. So yeah, I mean, you're not plussing really when you use this. It's not really like, you're not getting any actual tangible card advantage. You're just getting scales. But I feel like 2 is the perfect number. Then we're playing 2 Mythical Institution. I wouldn't play 3. I feel like 3 is a little cloggy. 2 is just fine. Even 1 would be kind of okay. But with 1, you'll barely see it. Despite even having all the draw engines, I tested it at 1, and to be honest with you, you never really see it. At 2, I feel like you see it just enough that when you see your Mythical Beast engine, it just works swimmingly. So now we're getting into the 1 of spells. We are playing 1 Magical Citadel of Endymion. This card is nuts. Just being a field spell that allows you to not only accrue spell counters, obviously as other cards do, but you can actually substitute spell counters on this for an effect of another card that holds spell counters. So if you have a Servant that doesn't have 3 spell counters, but this does, and you haven't used the effect yet, you can remove 3 spell counters from here and substitute those spell counters for Servant's effect or Abductor's effect or anything. So it allows for versatility. We are playing 1 copy of Instant Fusion. I am actually teching the Millenniumize Restrict. I feel like A, it's good for hand traps, B, it's a spellcaster, and C, you can always link it off into the Selene and then special summon it back off of Selene. So that's interesting. Then we are playing one Foolish Burial. As much as I know it's weird because we don't have any like graveyard inherent card, effects. It gets either Reflection or Endymion into the graveyard for you for Selene for future turns. So it molds your future turns and it just gives you another spell counter. It's just something that allows you to add spell counters to a lot of your cards. And then Terraforming, obviously, for the field spells, because we have 2 field spells in here. So then we have 1 Upstart Goblin and 1 Called by the Grave for hand traps. So that is it for the main deck, and next we are getting into the extra deck. So the extra deck might not be perfect. I know there's probably a lot of stuff in here that people might question, and I understand that, but to be quite honest, it's actually been working for me in testing. And I think I'm going to stick with it. I might change it up a little bit here and there, but I think I'm going to stick with it for now. So we have 1 Apollousa, obviously. Amazing, amazing card. 1 Selene. This is MVP of the extra deck. This card is ridiculous. This is the card that facilitates all your combos. I know that there's the Artemis Link, the Link 1, that it's like the little sister to Selene. I do need a copy of that card. However, I just don't know anyone who has one at the moment, and I will try to see if I can find one to add it in, but for right now I'm just playing this. Then we are playing 1 Nightmare Unicorn because we are playing Eye from Masquerena, and then we are playing Crowley, obviously, and then Cross Sheep because if you make the Absolute Dragon and you have, say, your Daybreaker or even your Crowley that you've already used its effects, you can link those into the Cross Sheep, and then Absolute Dragon will trigger in the grave, special summon the Vortex Dragon to a zone Cross Sheep points to, and then you get another summon of a level 4 or lower monster in your graveyard that allows you to bring that card back off of Cross Sheep. So just interesting stuff like that is really why I like this deck. Just just crazy interactions. Then we are playing 1 Gravity Controller. Now I know this is a weird tech, but if all you can make is Absolute Dragon, then you can put it in the extra monster zone, link it off, make this, and then summon the Vortex Dragon underneath it. So it's just a way to get into Vortex Dragon as soon as possible in case you can't make a big board and all you can summon is Vortex Dragon. Or Absolute Dragon, rather. So that is it for the Link monsters. For the Xyz monsters, 1, as we were just saying, on as Absolute Dragon. This card is one of my favorite cards in the extra deck because of the fact that it it negates attacks, but also when it negates those attacks, it special summons an odd-eyes monster from the graveyard, and then even on top of that, when it's sent to the graveyard, you can special summon an odd-eyes extra deck monster. So that's pretty nuts because we all know that Vortex Dragon is quite a card. From there, we do play the Time Star Magician. This is the card, the rank 4 Pendulum guy that I was talking about that searches Astrograph Sorcerer. There's like play lines and decision trees that allow you to summon this, search the Astrograph Sorcerer, then use Chronograph Sorcerer, and then go off after you've already made the Selene and all that stuff. It just allows you to really go crazy and just set up an enormous board. In case you have extra level 4s on the field, you can make the Abyss Dweller. Still a really, really strong card. So that's it for the Xyz monsters. For the Synchros, we play 1 Phaedon Dragster, and then I know this is weird because people are probably going to ask why I'm not playing Borderland Savage Dragon, but I'm playing Odd-Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. I do have Savage Dragon, however, I feel like Vortex Dragon in this particular deck is just a better Savage Dragon. Because with Savage Dragon, you need to have links in the graveyard. And yeah, you'll have some links in the graveyard, but there won't be link 4s or link 3s. So your Savage Dragon will only have 1 or 2 one or two counters, portal counters on it. And while that still counts as negates, Vortex Dragon in this deck is just a better Savage Dragon because of the fact that it just continually shuffles Pendulum monsters back from your extra deck into your deck. So not only does it have the added advantage of having more negates continuously throughout the game, but also those negates, the resources you use in order to activate that effect to negate something is just refilling your deck and making it so that your combos are just more fluid all over again. So that's just my personal opinion. And now last but not least, the 2 fusions are the Vortex Dragon and the Millennium Eyes. So that is it for my Endymion Pendulum deck. I'll probably do some test hands with this soon, I know I've been saying I was going to do some test hands with a lot of decks, and I just haven't really gotten around to it, but I have been playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! I just haven't been filming a lot lately, honestly, but I'm going to try and break that. Mostly it's because I have the same, before this, I had the same 4 decks that I played, and I didn't really change them much, and they were losing a lot. Whereas now, I feel like my decks are getting more capable, and they're being more, they're updated. I do have Earth, Earth Machines, whatever you want to call it. I have that deck that I'm working on. I have Orcust stuff with Verte and all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I'm working on right now. So I'm just trying to make my decks better so that when I post them, they actually do something. Even if they lose on the channel, like even if they lose in a duel video, at least they put up some kind of a decent fight, you know what I mean? But so that is it for my Endymion Pendulum deck, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I really appreciate the views you guys give us. I will be probably playing this in a duel video soon at some point. And I'll also be playing my Earth Machines, because to be honest with you, Machine of Ruin Force is a ridiculous card, as well as Machine of Citadel. That deck is honestly really, really nifty. I really like it. And then just being able to, if you play 3 Citadels and you can manage to get them out, which isn't too difficult, you can just overlay them into your Super Dreadnought, Libe, or whatever the hell that card is. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, like I was saying, guys, Eric here with Team Eccentric. I appreciate the views you guys give us. Let me know what you think, and I will get out of here. See you in the next one.